Welcome to Homelands on CFCR 90.5 FM in Saskatoon, Homelands of the Métis and Treaty 6 territory. This is your favorite Auntie, Andrea Letting Kashu. My name is Andrea. Call me Auntie Andy if you like, and I'll be your host over this next hour. And we are here joined by our guest, David Fineday. He's been a regular contributor to Homelands, and he talks about homelessness and advocacy for those who are unhoused and on the streets. He's experienced that himself. He's had many adventures as a 60s scoop survivor, a hereditary descendant of the original Fineday. Yeah, welcome, David.
Oh, howdy. Howdy. Glad to be back. And to continue on my story of how it is to be homeless and all the roadblocks and barriers there are, why that's one of the reasons why there's so many people out there. Since August 31st, I've been homeless. It's taken that long to find a place. I finally found a home, but it's in Montgomery. It's a real nice place. The people are nice, but I don't know anybody there. I don't know. And it takes 20 minutes, half an hour just to get down to 20th Street where I've always lived. And the buses only run from 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. and then 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. They don't even run on the weekends. To catch a cab to downtown, it's 25 bucks one way, and that's outrageous. I can call Access Transit, but if you're not on the phone by 8:05 in the morning, then you probably won't get in all day. And that's another barrier that I have. But in finding this place, um, I looked and viewed a bunch of places and put in applications all over, but nothing happened. And then I got Saskatoon Council on Aging to help me. They're workers that go out and help people find a place, and that was in when did I run into her? That was probably in the beginning of January, where Tara and I connected, and we went everywhere. She took me everywhere. We viewed. We I She applied places for me. Um, it was really good for her to help because if she didn't help, I wouldn't have had those rides to go view these places or help me to fill out applications on the internet. And there's it's quite a thing now that I have an address. But for these people coming out of the system and everything, you need a government ID. You need a bank account. You need your CRA tax assessment, proof of income, a bank account, and then some places you need three references. So that's quite a barrier for people looking for accommodations. If you don't have one thing, you get frustrated. If you don't have two things, you get even more frustrated. And that's when you give up. That's when that tarp and that sleeping bag look real good. Your own little house, your own affordable housing, as they say. That term really gets me. But I've been doing some studying. I'm going to be talking at the FSIN conference on March 23rd, and for QSAR from the U of S on the 24th. And I'm gathering information on how many people are coming out of the system. How many people are coming off each reserve to see by July, by the end of school, by July, see how much more people are out there. What did they count? 1,800, 1,900? There's 3,000 plus out there right now. By July, I bet you it'll be close to 4,000. If you listen to the news, you go down to Philadelphia, way down to these cities in the States, it's not 1,000, it's not 5,000. They have 20,000, 40,000 homeless people out there on the streets. What's the problem? If housing is a human right, how come those people are out on the street? If housing is a treaty right, why don't we have houses? Why are 85% of people out there on the street homeless are First Nations people? What's wrong with that picture? You get billions and billions of dollars taken off of our land through potash, gold, oil, minerals, stuff like that. Why don't we see some of it? Like I said, there's uh, CEOs, whatever they call them, that on the radio, there's 100 of them in Saskatchewan. They earn at least $16 million a year from 32 to, I think, what did they say, 8 million? That's that's outrageous to me. Why can't they spread some of that money out? Do they ever go driving down 20th Street, go downtown? Do they ever see all these homeless people? Or they just hear about it and they don't care? Society has to change. There's that many homeless people out there, and everybody wants to get rid of them. Let's go down there and go get one person. Go get a couple. Go put them in a home somewhere. Don't holler and scream and say, "Get out of here. Go get, you're not supposed to be here." Go down there, help them find something. If they have addictions problems, point them in the right direction. Don't tell them they have to go there. Same with mental health problems. Help them, guide them. Don't point your finger at them and say, "Get out of here." A lot of us have faced that all our lives, especially growing up in a system where you don't get no respect or anything. So you don't learn how to respect anybody. And then you hit the streets, and what you learned in those 18 years or whatever when you were in the system isn't enough to survive out there on the street. I've been talking to lots of people that I'd like to go into schools, talk to students 10, 11, and 12, 16, 17, 18 years old, and tell them, hey, get ready for the real world. Don't just slam them out there and say, see you later. Get them ready for it. Help them get housing so when they do step out of that 18, they have something to go into, not just a street, not just an alley or park bench. All I could say is walk out of your house with empty pockets and don't come back for a week and see how you feel. You have nobody to depend on, no blankets, no soft bed to wake up in. no 3 meals a day. Once people can do that, then realize what it is to be homeless. I shouldn't say homeless, I should say houseless, because everybody has a home. At your aunties, at your uncles, at your cousins, at your grandparents. You're always welcome to stay at those places. But when they get too full, it gets inconvenient, so you step away. That's when you're houseless. You see all this money, everything going by, you see all these rights being broken. Ah, where's the sunlight and all that? Where people know, oh, they'd say, go volunteer here, go volunteer there. There's no time to volunteer when you're on survival mode. You wonder where you're going to wake up, where you're going to go to sleep, where you're going to eat, who you're going to run into. Survival mode. Nobody knows, nobody's felt that like the people out on the street. They have dignity. Nobody ever respects their dignity, though. That's why they don't respect a lot of people because they're not showing it. They're not showing, hey, they're living just like me and you. They have feelings. They cry. They laugh, just like me and you. Maybe it's time just to walk up to one of them, two of them. Be careful. Just don't just don't make your mind up. Oh, those are homeless. Those are people are bad. There's lots of people that are rich in their own way. They've been taught things that they could handle themselves. You have to remember that a lot of these people that were kids that were scooped or taken away, all that during their stay in homes, they've got hurt. They have hidden disabilities, FASD, ADHD, ADD, all that kind of stuff. But nobody ever notices that right away until they get into trouble or until something bad happens. Oh, that's why he's like that. When they're in homes, when we were homes, how come they don't take us to doctors and say, yeah, hey, what's the matter? How come he's like this? How come he's like that? When I was in a home, I was 8 years old, and at nighttime I'd be crying, saying, Howard, Howard. I'd cry. 3 years I slept, I went to sleep crying his name. My foster parents took me to the doctor and they told him that. Yeah. And the doctor turned around and said, David's mentally retarded, you know. But that was back in the 60s. Today it's different. Back then it was you're either mentally retarded or you're good. Now there's many different steps of being having disabilities. The ones you see, and then there's the ones that you don't see, the hidden disabilities, the ones people hide. They're too ashamed to admit what happened to them. Take something, lots of courage to step up and tell your story. Took me a while to step up and tell my story, and I still get emotional. I know I probably always will, but when you're out there crying, no, you can't cry. You're a big baby. People don't realize crying is you're made to cry, to let out all those feelings. It doesn't make you tough if you don't cry. It makes you more miserable, more hateful. Until 2020, no, until 2000, that's how I was. Very, very hateful against society, against anybody. And then this lady came up to me and asked me about my past. And I said, "Get out of here. Get out of here. I don't want to talk about it." And I walked away. Again, she did that. And again, no, no. And I walked away. The third time, she came there and I just lost it. I was crying and probably about 15 minutes. She kept on bugging me and I kept just freaking out. And then it went quiet and we talked and it was just like 1,000 pounds came off my chest. Somebody I could finally talk to and let out what really happened. And that's what I've been doing ever since. Yeah, it's very emotional to let it all out. I'm just learning how to do that. What about all these homeless people, houseless people who went through that, who haven't learned yet how to deal with it? Will they ever learn how to deal with it? Is anybody going to go up to them and say, "I'll help you"? It's like they did to me. I fought it at first, yeah. What? Somebody cares about me? Somebody wants to talk with me about all this? Yeah. You can't just go up to somebody. You have to get their confidence. Buy them a coffee, buy them a meal. Yeah, just don't go up and offer them a cigarette. A cigarette will take you a long ways. Yeah, you have to remember the stories. Listen to the stories. There's that much homeless people out there, while each one of those stories is different. They're all homeless. They're the same, but they're different. I don't know if you can understand that, but yeah, I've run into many, many stories. And this homeless epidemic, houseless epidemic, is growing worse and worse all over Turtle Island. All over the state, you hear these big cities, thousands and thousands of them, never mind a few hundred or 2,000. There's like 30,000, 40,000, where whole streets, the whole sidewalks are covered from one end of the street to the other. Yeah, people sitting there crouched down, sleeping on the streets. What's wrong with that picture? How come people can't fix it? Mr. Trump and his billions, Canada with all their billions, and yet there's homeless people, and yet there's uh, housing is a human right. Well, how come that human right's not being followed? If it was followed properly, they wouldn't have to complain about people here, people there. It's a good idea to build a shelter where they can go and live, but not in my neighborhood. That's what I hear. Yeah, yeah, that's a good idea, but not in my neighborhood. So what do you do? It's it's quite a thing to how can we solve this problem? Provincial government, federal government, what do you call that? Human rights, treaty rights. How can we bring it to a point and say, hey, I know there was a lot of homeless people this winter, and we had smudge walks up until Christmas, praying and praying that we wouldn't lose nobody. And I thank the Creator for answering my prayers. As far as I know, we haven't lost anybody. I've seen people with frostbitten fingers, uh, colds, stuff like that, but we haven't lost anybody. And I thank Bridge City Warmth for being there and providing all the clothes that they provided, and all the other groups that come out there and feed the people. As without you people, we would have lost people. And that was that was my prayers. I think now I think I'm probably the oldest person out there on the street, still walking that street. There's lots of faces I don't know, young faces, young kids out there. What's the matter with the system when they can let 15-year-old kids be out there on the street, runaways? They don't like it at their homes. You complain and oh, you're bullshitting. I heard that story before. Kids coming out of homes, runaways, people coming out of the pen. Yeah, this happened to me when I was a kid. I was being abused. I was 14 years old and I was being abused by a very prominent person in the town. So you go and tell people, no, no, what are you talking about? You're lying. So nobody believed him. Sunday night at midnight, he set their house on fire and he killed both of them because he was being abused mentally, physically, sexually. Where's the justice in something like that? 14 years old. He did 7 years in the pen, hmm, for being abused. He paid for that. They didn't they didn't take his side of the story. What was happening to him? Nobody would listen to him. So what do you do? Sometimes it goes that far where they'll do that because nobody wants to listen. Some people will listen. Then they'll say, "Oh, no, you're lying." And when you're a foster kid, who's going to believe you on something like that? Oh, no, no, no. Or they'll try and hush it up. No, no, they're not like that. If we say something, we'll get them into trouble. How do you think that person feels for the rest of their life? They have to remember that trauma, just like me. For the rest of my life, I have to remember all that trauma that I went through. I'm 70 years old. I can imagine the scars on these people, all these young people that are coming out of there, why they go to the street. what causes them to do drugs, to forget all that stuff. The guys, the girls. I work with lots of them, talk with lots of them, hear lots of wicked stories out there. What happens? But society doesn't do nothing about it. They leave them out there. And then by, what's today? By March 1st, there's going to be how many more out there? By April 1st, there's going to be even more out there. It's just a growing thing. And unless they start putting up housing, affordable housing, or open up a place where they can camp, where they can put tents. I'm I phoned some lawyers and I'm trying to find out the legalities of them going into these tent cities and tearing them down. Is that what do you call it? Home invasion? Is that break and enter? Because that's your home. That's the only thing that you have. That's your home. How can people go in there and tear it down? Especially you're young and you just came out of the system and you got a big duffel bag full of everything that you own in your from your life. So you can't get a place. So you find a tarp, you find a sleeping bag, and you make your own little home. You stay there for a few days, you go eat, go walk around, do what you got to do, you come back, you go to bed, get up the next day, same thing. Go around, take care of business. You come back, everything's gone. Your whole life is gone. What do you do? What do you do? You wander around, you try and pull your life back together, you try to get a blanket for tonight, you try to get supper. You don't have no clean clothes, you don't have nothing left. Is that legal to do all that to people?
A great note to end on, David.
Okay.
We'll take a quick break and then we'll be right back after these commercials. So stay tuned. You're at 90.5 FM in Saskatoon, Homelands of the Métis and Treaty 6 territory, CFCR with David Fineday. It's just down the hall.